Good? Alrighty. Welcome to the City of Troy Board of Park Commissioners meeting for Monday, October 21st. Abby, please call the roll.
Mr. Emmerich?
Here.
Mr. Harrelson? Mrs. Anderson?
Here.
Awesome. First order of business is review of our September 10th meeting minutes. Are there any additions, deletions, or subtractions to those minutes? To me and you, Mona, I don't have any from my point.
I didn't see anything.
Okay, we'll hear none. I'll take a motion to approve, or make a motion to approve them.
No, I'll second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. All right, let's move over to our reports. Mr. Drake, how we doing?
Good afternoon. Good, how are you?
Afternoon, yeah.
Nothing really to add. I will update you on progress on Timba at Duke Park. We have started with the Fish and Wildlife Service on the riparian improvements to that lower field, where last fall we went in and sprayed all the invasive honeysuckle and Callery pear to kill that off, and then went in and mulched that in early spring this year, and now they are back, and we'll be planting about 2,200 trees, native trees, desirable species in that floodplain, all as part of an overall riparian area corridor improvement. So that work is underway and will carry out through the fall here.
Okay, great. Any questions for Mr. Drake? Hearing none. Mr. Seiler.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I don't really have anything to add to the report unless there are questions.
Nothing. Let's see here. The only other thing I had for you was we have a concert coming up. Is it next week or is it 2 weeks? Here?
2 weeks.
2 weeks is the next one. That's Trace Atkins.
Correct.
And how's that selling? Is there still tickets available, or where are we at with that?
Available.
Okay.
A little over half sold.
All right. Starting to move into the fall season. I saw open skates available, and
Yeah, we'll start public skating the first weekend in November.
okay. All righty. Any questions for Mr. Seiler? No. All righty. Mr. Boer's not here. I know we have these winter rates that we need to review, which he submitted. Part of his report. I'm sorry. Do we see when those go into effect, Abby?
December 1st.
December 1st. So worst case, I can delay that. Let's do that. I'm going to delay this. We'll delay that winter rates right now. And worst case, we'll get it approved in November to go into effect in December. Alrighty. I don't have anything from our Planning Commission report, so we'll move on to new business. The first item on the agenda here is approval of the interagency operating agreement between the City of Troy and the Troy City Schools. Is there someone here to discuss that?
Salome.
Salamayas, okay.
I hope you can hear me. City staff and Troy City Schools worked on the proposed draft agreement, which highlights terms and conditions of the shared use of recreational facilities, including the scheduling of facilities, maintenance requirements, and liability consideration. So the aim of the proposed agreement is to promote health and general welfare of the community and enhance recreational opportunities given to the children in our community. And it is the city staff's recommendation to approve the agreement, which will be effective if approved upon execution. And you have the attached agreement in your packet, which has a detailed information about terms and maintenance and all the facilities that will be included in the agreement, which is Exhibit A. So you can see that list of facilities. And if you have any questions, Mr. Drake and I will be happy to answer.
So this was basically came out of our discussion, our MOU that we had with the schools, right? This is the pending maintenance portion that we didn't have outlined. Correct. So you've been pretty active in working with facilities and getting this outlined as possible. I know North Market Street was on there Fairfield, so North Market, East Elementary, North Elementary, West Elementary, and South Elementary. I'm just trying to think if there's anything other that we had listed. I was kind of going through my records. I didn't see anything else that we...
No, we went extensively through our list of everything that the schools currently use on our property, as well as what we use on theirs, including all the new properties that are going to be built, and included that in the agreement.
Okay. And it's a 5-year agreement that we'll have an opportunity
Correct.
to review at the end of 5 years?
10?
10 years,
10
I'm
years?
sorry, yeah, there's at least 5 years of completion of contract work, insurance, it's an insurance agreement, okay. All righty. Is there any questions, from the board here, regarding this agreement?
I assume that the multiple pages of insurance requirements are just the standard.
Yes, that was
Insurance.
provided from Novarma, our insurance.
Okay. All righty. That being said, any other questions going on? Sorry, I apologize for that.
No.
Okay. I'll make a, motion to approve the interagency operating agreement between the City of Troy and the Troy City Schools effective upon execution. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, motion approved. All righty. Next is, moving on, is going to be the recommendation to City Council regarding the Margaret Duke Trail. I have that here. Salome, is that you as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Want to walk
So
us through that one?
several months ago, Robinson Reserve Committee, they talked about dedicating the trail, which is located inside Robinson Reserve, to Mrs. Margaret Duke. And so the then city staff with Mr. Drake, we kind of started thinking like how we could have some kind of a recognition for Mrs. Duke at that trail. So we decided to place a boulder, huge rock, along the path, and then have a plaque attached to it, kind of similar to what we have on Prouty Plaza. So we took that idea to the Robinson Reserve Committee, and they liked it. And of course, because this sign will be placed on a parkland, and the trail will be dedicated, it will be named after Mrs. Duke, it needs to come to you for approval and then to the City Council, because City Council has a naming policy of city facilities, which was included in your packet.
Okay.
So the recommendation is to, our recommendation to you is to consider recommendation to council authorizing proposed naming of the trail.
City Council. And so looking at this was approved back in like 2011, so this is, I mean, there's some history here based off of the name of the facilities. When I originally read this, I thought it was the Parks Department naming agreement, which it's not. It's the city.
It's city,
facilities.
City Council, yes.
Okay. Any questions from our Park Board on this one? No. Does the Park Board wish to take action on this, or make a recommendation?
Move to make the recommendation to council as requested regarding the naming of the Margaret Duke Trail.
All right, and I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Recommendation approved. Okay. Next thing we have on the agenda here, and I'll make a motion to add this. So let me first make a motion. This is regarding to add the recommendation of the North Market Street softball field lighting to the agenda. Is there a second on that?
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. So we'll get this added to the agenda. This is the recommendation to award the North Market Street softball field lighting project. Is there someone here to talk about this? Is that going to be Jeremy, or is that going to be Salome?
I can.
Okay.
So this is, something that we've been trying to get awarded. We had the approval from council for Mr. Titterington to enter into the bid process up to $175,000. We did have that bid opening, I believe it was on September 18th or thereabout, and the low bid came in as Sydney Electric. And so we'd like to be able to recommend this to council to be able to move forward with this project and award that to Sydney Electric.
So we're making a recommendation to city council here, to award the bid to Sydney Electric. Is it this lower portion here we're talking?
We're not recommending to council. The Board of Park Commissioners just needs to
okay,
award the
you're just
project to
awarding
to Sydney Electric.
So make a
Because this is
motion
on-
to award.
Okay.
Parkland, and it's out of the park budget.
Okay. So I'm making a motion to, award the bid as noted, in the, memo from, the city engineer to the park department, to Sydney Electric. Is that correct?
And then you want to state the amount, which that's in the last line.
And the amount, not to exceed the cost of $169,470.
Perfect.
All right. Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
That's fine. I have a question, but we can do it after the second. It's fine.
Okay.
We have more discussion.
Let's talk about it before we do that, I guess, and if you have a...
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's second or not. Jeremy, what's the electric allowance? Just,
which includes...
It was up to $20,000 if we needed to do anything different with the electric, panels there, the service into the park.
Okay.
and so is it determined that we don't have to, or it's still part of it as,
It's not needed, as part of the,
Okay.
project.
all right, thank you.
Okay. I'll start that over again then. So, I'll make a recommendation, to award the North Market Street, softball lighting project to Sydney Electric, for the cost not to exceed $169,470. Is there a second?
I will second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, recommendation approved. That's all we have as far as from the agenda standpoint here. I do see there's some people in the audience here. Anything for the, park board? Oh, we have
I'm
anything?
sorry, I do have one more thing, if
Yeah.
I could bring it to the board.
Yep.
We did have a donor come forward. There had been a GoFundMe, page started for Ellie Carter, and they wanted to be able to place a bench at the, East 41 kayak launch. And I was notified last week that they did have funding raised enough to purchase a bench. And, we want to ask the board for approval and acceptance of the bench and then placement at the, adjacent to the parking lot at the East 41 kayak launch. So we can go ahead and get that ordered.
Okay.
I think we should probably put that on the agenda as an item.
Is that, what do you think?
If you want to vote now.
How we did the other one.
Okay. All right, let's make a, motion to add, the, bench donation to the agenda. I'll make that motion.
Second.
We've got a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then I will, make a motion to accept the donation, as outlined by Mr. Drake, in memorial of, Ellie Carter, and that, bench to be located on the 41 kayak launch. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Recommendation, or motion approved on that one. Thanks, sorry about that. Mr. Drake, anything else to come before the park board today? I see some of our friends are in the attendance. Anything to add there? Yeah.
Okay. I'm Paul Hinkleman, and I'm a former president of the Miami County Pickleball Association. But I'm here as an individual and one of our nearly 300 people now who are a member of our association who are playing pickleball on a regular basis and are going to be really sad when it's too cold to be playing outdoors. They're out there this week, and last week was a little bumpy, but we're still there. And just as the scope of things, we have 300 people who are part of our association, and we lost one this last week, Betty Ann Walker. If any of you know Betty, she's 98 years old, and she's an amazing lady, and she was playing pickleball this summer. Oh. So it's something worked for her, so maybe it was pickleball, I don't know. So I have two purposes. One is the past, and the other is the future. The past is to thank the city, the board, Jeremy, everybody, for the investment and what we've done with Duke Park in terms of pickleball. Ooh, small but mighty crowd. we have people playing from all over, from the city, of course, and everybody loves what we've got. We did a nice job with it. It's a nice place. We really classed up the act, and it's great. It's going to be good for us for a long time to come. So we really do appreciate that, and it was a little bit tough getting there at times, and some things went smoother than others, but that's probably typical in public works. But it's all great, and we're really pleased and appreciative of the effort, so
Thanks for that.
appreciate that. Yeah. So, just as a kind of a tune-up to where we're going to the future, over the summer, it took us a while to get our crowds back. People found other places to go, and it took a little while that people started coming back, and by the end of the summer, we're getting our numbers back up again. On many days, we had all the courts filled and people waiting in the morning, and over the course of the 4 hours that we played, we probably have 100 people a day out there. And I think it'd behoove the city and the park board to maybe sometime, put those little strips out. We can catch people going in and out and see how many there really are. But there's a lot of people it impacts. That's us in the morning typically, and then during the afternoon, not so much. It's hot, and then the evenings we're busy again. That we fill those courts up, and different demographics at night, but it's all good. So growing back on stream again, and we're growing and getting bigger and more players all the time. One of our biggest controversies were the rules that we came to last time, and overall they're working okay. One of the notes that is on the sign says that it's player managed. It states the rules and says player managed. In the morning, where we have the bulk of our association players, it works pretty well. We have what you would hope that it would be, that people would step up and say, hey, we don't do it that way here, and that's not our culture, and there's no heavy-handedness or anything, but do what you want, but this is what we kind of do, and read the sign out front, this is the way it's supposed to work. And overall, that worked really well. And the bumps we had were more of out-of-county people, frankly, coming down from Sydney for the most part, but nothing of a problem. At night, the rules don't really apply. Nobody really applies them. And there's really no way to enforce it because they don't have the brethren of our association or the other players on a regular basis that are there every day or every Tuesday or whatever that would go up to someone and say, hey, you've been here long enough, it's time you go. And one of the big rules is that there are 3 courts that, 24/7, you can stay on if no one else needs the court, or if you're there, you can stay an hour, and then you need to move on. And there's no way to enforce that. And it's not been a big deal, but again, as we get bigger, it's kind of an issue. Again, we hope that next year we'll have more camaraderie in the evening, people, more organization, and people stand up for themselves and player managed, as it's called. But for now, it's not working, but it's not a big problem. We're doing okay, so appreciate all that. Had interesting, the new signs we put up that talked about no skateboarding, rollerblading, all that is great. But as I think we all can imagine, people say it doesn't say it on the sign, so I can do it. So recently we've had some people out there with their kids. They come to play pickleball. They let their kids go with skateboards and inline skates, and we try to tell them, hey, you're not supposed to do that. And the nice people will say, okay. Again, player managed. Who is that? It's hopefully some people who care enough. And then we had a guy out putting some electric vehicle with wheels on it who was going to drive around, and we cut that short, and he left. Last week we had a grade school soccer coach bring his team onto the courts. You may have heard about it. He said he was going to call you guys. And they were kicking the balls. They took half the place, which was okay. They didn't need all the courts yet. And they're kicking balls into the nets, over the nets, and the kids are climbing the nets. As pickleball players, and we have great ownership of that facility and know what we went through to get it there, we struggle with that. And so people actually talk to them, and it got nasty. We had a dad. The coach was good. The dad said, I'm a city resident. I can do whatever I want. It doesn't say it on the sign. Mind your own business. So the player managed part was a little bit of trouble. But I think, what we'd like to recommend is we just get one new sign, one more, that just says pickleball only, and that we can point to it. And if that's what you want to do, if you want to let soccer players on, it's up to you. We don't. We think that's not a good thing in the overall scheme of things. So we would recommend that, just simple new signs that just cover it all. And if it's not pickleball, don't do it. So, I don't know. This doesn't make sense to me that we have people beating on the courts. Don't need it.
We appreciate your feedback. I mean, we do, and agree in the collaborative nature that which we got these really nice facilities. So, thank you for that. And we are aware of that. That there was a team out there last week and have addressed that. So
the coach was great.
Feel like we were.
A couple of the dads were just obnoxious,
Yeah.
Crude and obnoxious. A very poor role model to the kids. And he said, "Look, there's nets, there's land everywhere. Go play there." Anyway, so we're old and cranky. We like pickleball. All right. Another thing, we've now heard about the advertising ability of the city to do that. We have people approach us that say, "Hey, can we put our sign up here?" And then I said, "Well, we can talk about all that." So I think I'd like to schedule with whoever manages that program a sit down to understand what the city's requirements are and how we can interface with that to either be, a group that brings in the people who are willing to donate to pickleball, and make sure that everybody's needs are met. So we'd like to hear more about that and know how that works and how we can participate to make that better.
Yeah, we posted that on the documents on our park website, so you can go down there and download the document. It'll give you kind of a rough guideline, and then Jeremy's the one who's kind of managing that. But it's on the park website if you just go on there.
Yeah, I saw leading up to it. I don't know if I saw the final thing, so we'll do that.
Yep.
Okay, so last thing is it's that time of year again. So every year we've come and we've asked for improvements and upgrades and maintenance of the facilities. And this last year, the city came through for us, and it was great. But one of the things we made a big point of is saying 1 year, just an inoculation isn't it. We need to keep growing, meeting the needs of the people as the needs change, and maintaining the courts and the facilities over time as well, so we don't get to where we were before we had to step in. So we have a couple things here, you guys. Just some recommendations. Awesome recommendations.
Thank you. That we think are practical. Some we think are just small, hopefully are line items, but who knows? We don't know what money you have or don't. A new drinking fountain with a bottle filler seems, the inside fences need a little bit completion on them. There's still ways for the balls to go places where they shouldn't have been. Jeremy told me they're going to paint the fences, and we're excited about that, and hopefully that gets done early in the season so we can get the windscreens up, because we never got the windscreens back this year. Some paddle racks that help that organization of who plays when, and it'd be nice to have some professional ones that look decent rather than the ones we made at home and we hang up there. So nets, we talked about we should be budgeting 2 nets every year just to replace the old ones that are getting rotten. We got a lot of good ones, but we need to just keep that going. The porta potty, that still is important to us. We have a lot of people who come out there for 3 or 4 hours, and it's a little bit of a walk to either go to the porta potty, by the soccer courts, or go over to the building. Not a big deal, but it doesn't seem like it would be a big deal to have one there either, or close by. We think an electric outlet at that little shelter right there would be a nice touch. That we sometimes have lunches and people get together and have a little potluck and do that. And if we have tournaments there, we could plug something in. There are no plugs available. There's power there, but there's no plugs. So something hopefully simple. And then the pickleball only signs. So, we'd like to see those, considered for the 25 budget that's coming forward, and maybe that's changed to you guys. Maybe that's big. I don't know. And looking at 25 and beyond, I'm encouraged to see that the softball courts got lights. That's not going to go away. We're going to keep asking for that every year. And maybe, the technology and our the research we've done, you guys have done,
can make that be more attainable in the future. And again, maybe there's something we can do to help with that through donations and those kinds of things. If this keeps growing, and this year will be pivotal, we lost a lot of people, they're coming back. If it keeps growing, we'd like to consider adding 4 new courts on the west side of the 12 we have now. That wouldn't be too bad at all to do that. Our windscreens, as Jeremy tells me, are getting beat up. Those were purchased a long time ago. They're starting to get worn, so hopefully we get through another season, but we need to probably replace those. Here's a good one. If things keep going, we'd like you to consider taking over the 4 courts in front of the arena and make those pickleball courts. We have never seen, other than when the schools are there, all the courts being used. So maybe there's something we can do there to avoid spending any more money, but reutilize things, as those courts at Duke were originally tennis courts, that the need wasn't there, and they repurposed them in a good way, and they're being used. Considerations. And the other thing that we'd like to think in the big picture is some type of shade. It's still a very hot place, and maybe there's some types of shade we can do for the courts. But those are big pictures. We don't expect anything. We're appreciative of consideration for it. We'd like to know that it's being considered and looked at in the bigger picture, and know that we're investing in positive things for the city, and that we're doing our best to keep it going forward and creating the best image that we can have for the city of Troy.
Yeah.
So, okay?
Well, thank you for these suggestions. We appreciate it. I mean, it's great when people dive deep into their sports and their use of the park. So we appreciate it and absolutely include it in the process.
Again, thank you again for the support that you've provided.
Yeah.
It's great. Thank you.
Thanks. Anything else to come before the park board? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Meeting adjourned. Thanks.